You ever get the feeling that everything in America is completely f***ed up? You know that feeling? The whole country is like 1 inch away from saying, that's it, forget it. I mean, think about it. Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
Welcome, folks, to a very, very late night recording of what's going on in my mind, I guess. Yeah, as you might have noticed on the video, very beginning there in the very long intro, insomnia is a it's tough. It is. It's tough. And I think a part of the problem with insomnia is that you just have too much stuff on your mind and a lot of things that are not resolved, or who knows? I mean, it could be anything. How about the current events in the world right now? That's a good reason to have insomnia, isn't it? I mean, it's a lot of worry, isn't it? I mean, you got the war over there between Russia and Ukraine. Or really, just Russia picked a fight with Ukraine, even though Ukraine was over there in their own little corner, being Ukraine. And Vladimir Putin wants the Soviet Union to be reunited, I guess. And Ukraine was part of that plan. I think it's a little twisted, if you ask me, but so that still isn't a big reason to have insomnia. It's only a small fraction of the reason to have insomnia. Obviously, that's fueled by worry. Like, what kind of future do we have in America here? What kind of future do they have on the other side of the planet? And it's funny how everything happened after COVID-19 sort of petered out. You know, it's just like, hey, we're losing their interest. I mean, people aren't sick anymore, and oh God, we better come up with something. We better come up with a plan. Suddenly, everything happened. Bam, bam, bam. Just like one thing after another hit us all at once. I mean, we have the supply chain problems. We have ships. It started with ships out. Waiting to be docked and unloaded. They had precious supplies, and and it cascaded to everything was okay for a while. Then all of a sudden, oh my God, we have a food shortage, and we have inflation, and we have all these other inflations. It's like, it's insane. Hyperinflation. Super mega hyper, super duper inflation and all that other BS. Okay, we're screwed, folks. Why, let's just put it that way. Why does everything have to have a label? It's just, everything's got a label. I guess that's what humans do, especially Americans. We have to put a label on everything. Well, let's just sum it up and say everything's f***ed up, because it is. I'm sorry, it's hitting home. I'm seeing a lot of people struggle. A lot of people that I know that are close, they're struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet. They were having a hard time before all this nonsense started, even before COVID-19. We're Americans, and we rolled up our sleeves and we built this country through blood, sweat, and tears. In a very, very short time, the powers that be decided to destroy it. Because why not? They hold all the power. Never mind that they are supposed to work for us. Politicians are supposed to work for us. Not, we're not the slaves for the politicians. Politicians work for us. Our government works for us. But somewhere along the line, we lost sight of that. And it's not totally our fault. And there are some people out there that expect the government to basically coddle them like a 3-year-old. You got a boo-boo? Well, here, let me give you $3,000. That'll make it feel better, right? It was great. Even I thought it was wonderful when we got those stimulus checks. Okay, that helped out a whole lot. Believe me, I'm on a fixed income. I'm disabled, and to see that little extra come in, and to see the cost of living increase back in January of this year was a blessing. And then they pulled the rug out from underneath us. And not just people on low income, not just people who are struggling or disabled or what have you, but there's hard working Americans out there struggling to make a living. Okay, and yet they can't make a living. And I wonder, because now we have these problems with the food supply, prices are increasing, and not just in the food sector, but gasoline, diesel, kerosene, which, on a side note, before all this nonsense happened, this inflation garbage started, kerosene was $3.99 a gallon. I actually had thoughts and plans to heat this past winter, or this, winter 2022, I was going to heat with kerosene. Well, when I saw that it was going to run me about $3.99 a gallon, and it took 1.5 gallons to run my kerosene heater just for one night and part of the morning, I think it'd run right up to about noon of the next day. I did the math on it, and I was just like, no, there's no way I could do it this way. And I ended up going back to wood heat, which thankfully I didn't get rid of the wood stove. But that was before all this inflation and garbage started, and the supply chain and all that other, BS. And yet I don't see our government doing anything to make it any better, because at the same damn time we're sitting here worried about what Russia and Ukraine are doing. So we have, it's just like, there are so many things going on that's distracting us that we become wiped out, tired, confused, angry, and to that point where we say, you know what, forget it. But if you're a prepper, you don't have that opportunity to say, that's it, I'm done, because you're never done. You keep going, and you keep rotating your stock, and you keep checking food prices, and you do the best that you can with what you with your income. So it doesn't really matter what your income bracket is. You're going to go to the store tomorrow and things are going to be triple what they were 2 days ago. But no matter what, you keep on pressing forward. You keep on stocking the pantry. And you just keep on the good fight, because you have no other choice, because dying or suffering is not an option at this point for anyone. So it's not just the people on disability that are hurting, but it's everybody. It's everybody. Hardworking people are not. We're struggling. Americans are struggling. You watch these cartoons, and I think I've used this analogy before, but probably not on this channel, because this will be the first time that I've actually done any long video, and I hope it's not too damn long, because I don't want to bore you to death. But I used this analogy in the past with, friends and family or whatnot, that in movies, okay, they're movies. They're entertainment. Books are entertainment. Cartoons are entertainment. But you always had that supervillain, right? And you want to take over the world. Some supervillains just wanted to take over the world. They wanted to be noticed. It's like, it's like a 5-year-old just wants attention, and they keep doing whatever they can to get that attention from you, no matter how good or bad it might be or how annoying it is. But it's supervillains, and there's supervillains that just want to destroy the world. What's the point of that? You destroyed the world. You did not accomplish. The only thing they accomplished was their own demise, along with the billions of people on the planet Earth, or whatever planet it may be in the movie or the book. But if you were to make a movie of our situation right now, They would want to decimate us, the lower class and the middle class people, wipe us off the face of the earth. What? By starving us, I guess? Taking our basic needs away? Water, food, a roof over our heads, all the basic necessities that energy, like electricity and gasoline, diesel. Well, what are these villains going to do when there's nobody to do the jobs that Joe Average and Jane Average did on a daily basis before everything went to hell? I don't see Bill Gates, flipping burgers at McDonald's or Elon Musk doing a menial job, a job that obviously the richest man on earth wouldn't want to do. I mean, let's face it, these people made a big living, but the problem is, if they wiped out all this, what they call the lower class or middle class people, who's left? It's like a really bad apocalyptic novel or video, or movie. It was like a B movie. Really, just a really bad production. That somehow in the end, the rich managed to destroy the peons. And I'm not saying anyone's a peon. I'm just using this as an example. And then they're left going, oh, who's going to make the expensive champagnes, and who's going to mow my lawn, and where am I going to get this food, Buffy? Well, duh, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to do it yourself. Or you're going to have to get your rich, snotty little son or daughter to do that manual labor because you got rid of all the good people. Now, of course, I'm being obnoxious about this, and obviously things aren't going to turn out like that. But you just have to wonder, what do these villains have in mind? If you get rid of all the poor people and you get rid of all the people who are making a fairly good, decent living, then what do you have left? A bunch of rich people with nobody to boss around and nobody to produce new products, nobody to distribute items, goods and services. There won't be nobody to provide that employment. So basically, I guess they're going to live off of their preps, and I'm pretty sure that the rich people probably prep to a certain extent, and I guess it's probably pretty damn easy for them to do it because they're not on a fixed income, or they're not working 3 jobs trying to keep a roof over their head, and they've got a mortgage out the wazoo or anything like that. No, they're taken care of for life. So I can't understand the mindset of politicians. That's why I don't like politics. I'm not, I like a government that actually works for us. That's what it's supposed to be. They're supposed to work for us, but evidently somewhere along the line, Americans in their eyes became stupid and we couldn't do things for ourselves. We couldn't, we didn't have enough sense to say, hey, enough is enough. You goofballs up there in the White House work for us, and you do what we say, because that's what our forefathers had in mind. So we are, we're struggling to make ends meet, and at the same time we're trying to put something back so we will survive if things go south or the shit hits the fan type of scenario. It's I don't understand I just don't understand that mindset. Why would you want to destroy your own people? And politicians are Americans for the most part. They're Americans too. But it seems like when they get into power, they forget where they came from. Now, I don't care if they were born into money or if they weren't. That's not the point. The point is they work for us. They do our bidding. It's not the other way around. Somewhere along the line, we just lost track of that. Meanwhile, I'm taking my meager income, trying to balance between bills and food, watching friends do the same thing, just struggle through it. It's like 2 steps forward and about 10 steps back now, because you get ahead a little bit and then something just comes along and pulls the rug out from underneath you. So, no, I'll be taking that $30 or Oh, you just got $25. Well, by the way, we need this from you. I'm seeing friends struggle to keep the lights on, to keep food on the table, gas in their vehicles so they can get around and get things that they need. I've myself personally, I've been without a vehicle for, gosh, I don't know, 5 months now, maybe more. I've lost track, honestly. My Jeep, there's a busted head on it, and I've just not been able to afford to have it fixed. I could go get something else, I'm sure, but then I would have a bill that I can't afford. And for what? So I could put enough gas in there to maybe go up the road 3 miles to the Dollar General store. I mean, I get tired of eating the food from Dollar General. To be honest with you, it's just too damn expensive. And I'm seeing prices increase at the Dollar General. I was telling people a year ago that the CEO of Dollar Tree was saying that their prices would increase and would no longer be $1 plus tax. It's now like $1.25. And I got a message from my sister, and she asked if that was the prices down here in Kentucky, which she lives in Illinois. And I said, "Yep." And I said, "Everything's going up." I don't know what it is now, but a few days ago I paid $4.50 a gallon for milk. And my friend who gave me a ride to the store says, "Look at the eggs," and they were like $3.12. Which, if you've gone to the Dollar General, I mean, they've probably got pretty. I think they have a decent price on eggs, but not now. Obviously, I think they were something like almost $2 for a dozen eggs. Now it's like up to $3.12. Luckily, gasoline has dropped to about $3.69 over here, but in other parts of Kentucky, it fluctuates between $3.69 and $3.70. I guess it's hard to keep up with it. To be honest with you, I just cannot. I can't keep up with the prices of gasoline and things like that, because I'm at a point right now in my life where every cent counts. And luckily, I've met, not personally and not in, face to face, but I've interacted with a great group of people who are prepping and just trying their very best to make sure that they will make it through, because we're going to have an economic crash. Everything's going to come tumbling down eventually. I mean, the next thing is, stores and businesses and things like that is closing down because they can't get the products to the customers. And without something to come, without the product coming into the stores, then the employer has nothing to pay the employees. So you'll see a lot of things closed down. You'll see people without jobs, people losing their homes. Their way of life will be greatly disrupted. And I am truly worried about people who, like myself, are on a low income. I mean, there's no relief in sight. And for the love of God, don't believe that crap on there where, the fourth stimulus check. You check to see if your state, you've probably seen those ads on your phone or on the internet, your computer or whatever. Fourth stimulus check for these states in America, and they'll give you this short list. It's BS. Don't fall for that. It's not going to happen. I don't see us getting any kind of relief, because right now we're already in a downward spiral here in America, and I don't, and I know it's bad in all the countries. It's not just America that's suffering, but I don't see our government trying to help us out. I can guarantee that. Well, I can almost guarantee. I can't 100% guarantee, but I can almost guarantee that we will not see a fourth stimulus check, and I don't see them trying to bail Americans out, which is a shame, because honestly, people on a fixed income, and I don't care if you're drawing SSI or SSD, it barely scrapes. You're just scraping by. That's it. And I can't even imagine the people who don't get SSI or SSD. no, who do not get some kind of disability, or the people who are trying to feed their family on food stamps, and the price of food just keeps getting higher and higher, and some of the foods are hard to find. Something has to break somewhere. I feel like the world, I feel like the government isn't going to be happy until there's riots in the streets. And then they're going to call us savages, and what's next? People are going to be protesting this, and what's going to happen then? Are they going to destroy shops and stores and restaurants and things like that, and looting and rioting? There won't be anything to loot. Our supply chain is all screwed up. So what is there going to be left to loot? To be honest with you, there won't be much. We keep going the way we're going now. But I've met a really great bunch of people here on YouTube that have prepping channels, and they are a great wealth of information. Some really smart, sharp people in these groups, and they're definitely worth the time to check them out and listen to their advice, because that's what they're doing now. That's what they do. They live, breathe, and eat prepping. And if you stop and think about it, people were doing this for thousands of years. People were prepping from the very almost the start of time. I won't say the cavemen were, because I doubt that they were. But I believe that they killed everything they ate just right then and there. But, that's before they become more intelligent and decided, hey, I better put some food back for the winter, because it's going to be mighty cold, and I don't want to get out there in my buckskin suit and shoot something with my bow and arrow or a spear. But somewhere along the line, humans got smart, decided, a long time ago, to put food back. I'm trying to put my own effort into my own situation. I live alone with some crazy cats, and pay my electric bill and pay the rent, and forget buying anything for myself or any prep that is not food. It's just totally out of the question unless I just totally go without things. But I'm learning from this group, just a great bunch of people, and so I'm going to list several great prepping channels down in the description box. What are people going to do? How are they going to survive when there is no food and they didn't believe in prepping? What are they going to do when they can't turn a light on and they have to sit in the dark? What are they going to do when they can't afford the gas to go to work? And would they even have a job to go to? It's that old saying, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I guess it's the same mindset for people, as you can show them what to do, teach them these skills, ask them what their main skill set is. Where are they, what are they really good at? How can that be helpful for their family and their friends or whatnot? How is that going to help them survive? Or they wake up one morning and they don't have a job. They go out to, they go to their job, they go to work in the morning, and the boss says, I'm sorry, we don't have any product to sell, so we're going to lay you off. Or Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones, you don't have a job anymore, I'm sorry. And then after a while, after thousands of people have lost their job and they're struggling and they're starving and they're hungry and they can't pay their mortgage and they can't pay the rent, they can't, put gas in their car to go look for a job, you're going to have rioting. People are going to go insane. Not literally, but they will lose their mind. They'll just, that's it. They're going to go ape shit, and next thing you know, we're going to have rioting in the streets. Now is a good time as any, I guess, to try even harder to make sure that you and your family have enough to eat. You have enough. You have some kind of plan for electricity, some way to generate your own electricity, because those electric plants They need something. They need a fuel like coal or water to keep the lights on. They need employees to make sure they keep the lights on. But what happens if the employees can't make it to work because they can't afford the gas for their car, can't afford the diesel for their truck? I wonder how a politician would feel if they got up one morning and they couldn't put gasoline in their vehicle to go to work, do their job. Oh, well, this isn't my fault. No, this is Joe Schmo's fault. Joe Public. Let's blame them because we don't have what we need. We don't have gas. We don't have electricity. Believe me, I don't like speaking of doom and gloom. That's not what I'm about. That's not what this channel is about. We've got plenty of YouTubers out there doing that. And I'm not going to mention any YouTube channel names or personal names or anything like that that has anything to do with doom and gloom. But they are out there. And like I said, I'm not going to point any fingers, so we'll just leave it at that. But now, we'll put the blame where blame is due, and that's on the government, and that's the people in charge who have let us get in this situation in the first place. I worry about 2 of my kids are out on their own right now, so so that's just weighing on my mind too. So that's another reason I guess I have insomnia, is because these things weigh on my mind, and I think about all this stuff every day, and it's like, slow down, Barry. You've got to take it one step at a time. And I understand that. But this is real, folks. This is in their face. Every day it's on the news. Every day it's on YouTube. And every time that I step into a store or I look at the gas station, the gas prices at the gas station, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. This is what was people warned about years ago, way back. You remember back in 2000 when we had that big computer scare. People were prepping before year 2000 rolled around. And I believe that I did a little prepping back then too. So it's, I was a little bit more prepared to prep back then. Things were a bit cheaper back then, but not now. No, it's really, really just unbelievably expensive anymore. And when you're on a low income, fixed income or whatever, it's not fixed. I should not use the word fixed income, because fixed income, if it was fixed, it wouldn't be so pitiful. It wouldn't be so cheap. No, it wouldn't be so hard to prep. It wouldn't be so hard to live or survive every month. If it was actually fixed. Yeah, it's fixed, all right. It's fixed so you barely get by, which I get SSI and I understand it's supplemental security income. But if you've actually looked at the requirements for SSI, supplemental security income, you are allowed up to a certain amount from a job or from some other income. But if it exceeds what you get on your SSI check monthly, then they'll start docking a little bit off of your SSI check. So basically, it's like I said, you're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of other people who are disabled or on fixed income or drawing some kind of help from the government who are wondering how long they can keep this going before everything falls out from underneath them and they can no longer afford to pay for baby formula. If you could find it. From what I'm hearing, you can't hardly find baby formula anymore. And I wonder just how long before those people start to fall through the cracks. And I wonder, it's none of my business what someone makes, how much money they get per month, whatever. None of my business, but I have to wonder how some people are going to make it, whether they're low income or not. Because pretty soon you've got the people who are doing well, they were well-to-do or whatever, going to the store and spending, $300 or $400 on groceries was no big deal. And now suddenly they're at the same bracket that the poor people are at, the same situation. Eventually, that person who could spend $300 or $400 on groceries for their family is in the same category as somebody who draws food stamps or EBT, who has to carefully spend their money because they're not going to get any more on that card. That's a one-time thing per month. And when it's gone, it's gone. You're dipping into your cash. So it's even harder for somebody who's on disability and they're drawing, getting a little bit of assistance from the government. And I'm not sure about other states, but I know here in Kentucky, April 2022 was the very last month that you will be getting COVID relief on EBT. So there's that right there. So you will go back to what you were drawing before all this COVID nonsense started. Wow. It's like, ouch. It's got to sting. It's got to hurt. And it puts a lot of strain, a lot of worry on people. So, we had no idea things were going to spiral out of control like this. And personally, I feel like, I wished I'd had enough sense to just keep on prepping since 2000. Just make it a lifelong thing because, my God, look how they have screwed things up for Americans. I don't know, folks. It's just, it's random thoughts that go through my mind right now and lately. And I just feel like I need to share it, get it off my chest. Anyway, I'm not sure what direction I'm going with these videos on YouTube, but they are going to be not just about radio communications, but probably rants like this. And I guess that's what this is a rant. But anyway, feel free to chime in. Any negative and hate comments that are left in the comment section will probably, most likely, pretty sure will be deleted. So if you have any hate speech, leave it to somebody else's channel, but not mine. It will be deleted. But I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. And until next time, stay prepared. Do the best you can. Pray for our nation. And have a good night, folks.